Since those last couple of storms came through and buried us in snow pretty hard, we spent the next few days more or less digging things out around the farm and trying to get things back into good functioning operations before moving back on to working on the shop. The roads were opened up and the boys were back in school, but this morning our camera system notified me of movement around our coop. So when I pulled up the footage, I saw this. Goats wandering around outside. Now we had just snowblowed out around the feeder inside the corral yesterday, but it was late by the time I got done snowblowing the road, and I didn't have time to get him a bale of hay afterward. I had planned on switching out the snowblower for the loader this morning and bringing them hay. But quickly I realized I needed to come up and get them settled and back in first, before going through the effort of switching out the snowblower and loader and coming down here to get them a bale. When we had gone in with the snowblower to clean up around the feeder, we finally got a chance to put our hands on our first brand new baby goat of the season. She had been born 2 days prior to that, and we had seen her up and about and walking and knew everything was good. Her mom, Emily, is the little black and white goat that I'd been checking the last couple of weeks, and she's an amazing mother. She's the only one we never worry about kidding. This little black one is our first kid of the season. That's her mom right there, Emily. She's the one I was checking. Little female. She's awful cute. So she's not Ragnar's. She's another little buck we had up here. It was a year younger than Ragnar. His name was Thor. It's gray and white and silver, speckled and stuff. His sire was a buck out of Georgia named Michael, pure white, all tip to tip. And Thor's mom is a sister to Cairo, and Cairo is Ragnar's father. Cairo was our first legitimate herd sire when we got into breeding these Kiko goats. Cairo is also Emily's sire. Thor is a purebred Kiko. Emily's a purebred Kiko, and Ragnar is as well. This little buck is a purebred one also. His name's Solomon. This black one will be the next one. Her name's Dagny. And she should be due within a couple of weeks. The two white females that we have are Ellie and Bella. They kid late and they were nursing for a while. They've been nursing clear up until just weeks ago, and I don't think that they're pregnant yet. So we're gonna give them some time to get one more batch out of them. They'll probably become bratwursts this fall. The two yearlings, they'll get bred this season. Get down off the hay bale. There's plenty of hay without you jumping up there. That's one of the reasons that these two white ones are going. They jump on everything. Guaranteed, not this one with the one horn, the other one with two horns. She'll be standing on top of this bell by this afternoon. Just standing up there eating away, pooping all over it. Guaranteed. I give her till this afternoon. We got into Kikos over other goat breeds because of some of the benefits that they had. Compared to other breeds, they're much more cold hardy. We never have to trim their hooves, and they have little to no issue with parasites, especially in a big open mountain pasture like this. So with them fed and taken care of, the pigs also needed a new bale of hay so that they could have a little bit more of the forage that they want in their diet. And then I could go back to removing the loader again and putting the snowblower back on again to go back and clean up the roads. Apparently afternoon was too long because I haven't been down from there for more than 30 minutes. I don't know if you can see that or not. There she is, up on top of the bale. She's such a stink pot, and she knows it too. When she gets caught climbing things she's not supposed to, she immediately looks guilty. Just watch her reaction as I drive up. Look at the way she looks at me and then reacts. At this point, I figure the animals are pretty well contented and should be in good shape for a while now. Now it's time to get back to moving some snow and cleaning up a little bit more of those low priority areas. There are a couple of areas on my roads that I'd like to widen out a little bit. I need to open up the pathway into my well pad so that I can get in there again with the generator to run the well pump. And then while I'm at it, I'll probably try to widen out a few of our little pull-out spots along the main road just to try to improve some of that a little bit and give us space to pass again. At this point in the winter season, with this much snow accumulation, there really is no advantage to blowing the snow uphill versus downhill, at least not substantially. For the most part, when I'm blowing the snow uphill, it's in an area that I have a ditch that runs alongside the road. So when it does melt, it's actually to my advantage to blow it up there, because then it will run in and hit the ditch and run along the road rather than crossing the road and causing washout and soft spots and mud issues. And blowing it downhill is just fine as long as there's not something else below it. So even when I'm blowing out the well pad there, I gotta be careful not to blow it too far downhill because then it just piles up on the road. So I'm trying to hit it in between where there's a ditch that it'll run into. All along my property frontage along the main road, I've cut in a small barrow ditch just to give the water a point to collect and channel and run down to a good crossing point of the road. That way it minimizes the water damage that happens on the road. At a certain point on the main road here, it doesn't matter where you go with it, it all runs down the road because that's the way it slopes. But obviously, if there's nothing below me to worry about, then I'll blow the snow to the downhill side and let it find its way to the creek a lot easier. Of course, at this point, I've now gone through about 5 shear bolts so far, and it's time to go up and give a real evaluation of what's happening here. Since the sun had come out, it sure made the drive back a sight to see. The way the sun hits the trees that are completely covered in snow and casts shadows all across the ground with the white, rippling canvas. It's such a pretty sight, even though it does come with its own set of challenges. In the moment, those challenges seem like giant mountains, but an hour later, a week later, a month later, they just kind of melt away. Views like that just help push it even faster. All right, broke a shear bolt again. And this thing's had it. So the way these work, this hole here, a bolt goes through to bolt these two flanges together. These things are basically like a ball bearing. See there? So this groove has little steel balls in there all the way around. And that acts as a bearing surface. And then the bolt connects the two races essentially together so that when it shears, the bearing just spins. But you can see it comes apart. I don't have any ball bearings left in there. Now there's no support for that bolt. So what happens is it gets a little bit of a off angle like this, and then it chatters because it's not spinning true, it's rotating out of balance. And so that's the chatter I keep getting, and why I keep snapping bolts is because it's relying on just the bolt to keep it in alignment. Since it won't stay in alignment, it puts extra stress on that bolt and keeps popping the bolts. We're done doing snow blowing for a minute till I get that replaced. This morning I'm doing some office work, and this camera right here that faces our chicken coop kept sending an alarm up. So I pulled up the camera feed, and our big Billy here, old Ragnar, had decided to be out there. And he was over here messing around with stuff. So I walk up, him, the little black and white doeling, its mama, and Solomon, the little tan buck. We're all standing out here. And they've been walking around, doing their thing out here, because they decided to walk right up over this hump of snow and wander around doing their thing rather than staying in. I tried to snow blow it the other day just to kind of give it them space to work in here and not have to worry about them pressing it. But you can see over here where it's compacted and compressed from snow blowing. Now they've decided that's firm footing, so we should just walk up it. And you can see I can step right up it, and they can just walk around out here without even sinking at all, because this has been snow blowed. It's packed. That's a 5-foot fence all the way around the perimeter. A lot of our other fences are 4 foot. This one's 5. You can just see the corner post up there of the chicken pasture. That fence is fully buried. That's 4 foot net. The T-posts are at 53 inches and the wooden posts are at 56. So I think I'm gonna end up having to come in here, cut it sheer, so it's a bigger, taller, clean wall, and including all this back here that they've been walking up. They're just getting antsy. They're tired of this winter. They're ready to start meandering and wandering the mountain, looking for browse. It's that time of season for them, so they're getting anxious. If spring can come slow and easy, but start now, that would be great. When they get curious and want to wander, that's when we end up with problems. So we don't want any of that. They pretty well stayed in the rest of the afternoon. And then when the boys got home from school, they and I went up into the corral again with the tractor and the snowblower, and we ended up blowing out all that snow right to the fence line and back till the soft, soft snow. I know I had just finished saying how the PTO shaft was no longer going to function, but we needed to get it done, and I didn't have those parts replaced yet. So we threw a new shear bolt in there and just took it careful and easy, tried to make it last. I think we used 2 shear bolts, but it did get the job done. The next day, Ola and I did all this drywall, but we only had a very short window of time, so we had to wait until the following day to do more. We are going to try to do some drywall. We only have a little bit more left. Got a 1.5 sheets on the back wall, 4 sheets up here, and a little partial sheet there. In the corners, I've got to put together some backing supports there. It's because of the way this is all post and girts. So where those edges come into the corner, I've got some plywood strips that I've cut so they're nice square edges. And I just need to staple them into a L shape so we can screw it into the back of this sheet and attach it to this sheet so that they lock in together and hold tight. But my air compressor is in the trailer, which is buried in 4 feet of snow. So what we're gonna do is pull the tractor out, pull the Ranger out, and we'll probably take a minute, dig out the trailer and drag it out and back it up here so we can get the air compressor unloaded and brought into here. Right now, the trailer's so buried in that I can't get the power cord brought out far enough to get close enough to it with the generator to charge it. So we'll do that. Ola's gonna start hot mudding where we have areas that we just had some bigger gaps, and then around the boxes and stuff like that where it just needs a little bit of hot mud before we go to the all-purpose and the tape. We just have like 5 hours worth of time. That's all we have today, so we've got to just try to bang out. Okay? All right.
Just get it done. You gonna take that dog with you?
Yeah, they'll follow you. They love me. I am their favorite.
The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried. All the years that I've wasted trying to find it. All that I go through for my peace of mind. Let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. Early blue morning, when everything's cold, I see you running, all covered in gold. There's nothing else that eases my soul. I let it all.
Now I gotta get the jack broken out of the ice on the ground, so I'm cranking pretty hard for that.
Smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind
See if we can wiggle.
chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. When there are others, I do the routine. I dance all alone there. I try to be seen. Then there's a feeling, you know what I mean. I let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind.
Don't see if we can wiggle.
Let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes.
It's locked in pretty good. I don't think the tires are frozen down anymore, but they're definitely down in humps. But if I take this sidewall off over here, that's easier to get, then I might get enough swing that I can walk it out of those little troughs. So this is really hard, look. So this is the stuff that's all coming off the trailer. So it's warm when it comes off, and then it packs when it hits the ground, and then it refreezes. That's why it's so hard. And that's also why it won't walk loose, because it's like locked in the side. There we go. Okay, so the whole reason we were trying to get the trailer out is because the extension cord on the compressor, I can usually bring out the back doors and get it plugged in. The back doors are completely blocked in. The side door is open, but I only can get about a foot out the side door because the compressor's in the back corner. So we thought if we could get it pulled out of here, we could back it to the shop and unmount the compressor from inside of there and get it brought in so we could just have it in the shop from here on out. but that didn't work. I can't believe it broke that drawbar. But after further inspection, I can see that there's a rust line here in a partial way through. That indicates a previous crack that had started and allowed moisture in to start rusting the surface. And then the clean crack is out here. So somewhere along the way, we cracked it a little bit previously, and without knowing it, we finished it off just now. Everest is just going to shovel out enough path there of the loose stuff that we broke loose, so we can wheel the generator up to the door and hopefully get it close enough that we can get it plugged in and we can access it through the side door. We're done spinning our wheels on that project for now, and we're going to actually get to getting something done. Oh, while we've been dinking around with that, Ola's been in here busy as a beaver, pre-filling gaps, filling boxes with hot mud.
Yep.
How's it coming up there?
It's good. I'm just getting all the scratchers opened up, and then I'll hot mud this area. And I just want to make sure I get moved.
Yeah, we can move you now.
That's the only thing.
We're done dinking off with our project out there.
Yeah. Will you guys quit fooling around and get in here?
I know.
Done before
I told you I was ready to hand this over to you, so.
I'm ready.
You're doing great.
Well, we thought we had a good plan in mind, at least with this trailer. We were wanting to get it pulled out and brought up here to the shop, because a lot of the tools that are in there are going to be coming into the shop permanently instead of being in the trailer. So our thought was that if we can get it pulled up against the shop here, then we could start unloading some of those tools pretty soon and have things ready to go and start organizing them. Ultimately, it ended up one of those tasks where it had a little bit of a challenge to begin with, and then the challenges got deeper and tougher and deeper and tougher, and finally we caught a breaking point, quite literally, on the tractor that caused us to stop and reevaluate. That little project was supposed to be just a quick little supportive task to help make things a little bit easier and more efficient today and in the future. However, it got to where it was just taking too much time, and we needed to get on to task. Ola was going really quick with all of this tape joints and preparation, and we needed to make sure that the rest of the drywall was fully installed so that she could keep going without delay.
Okay, that's enough for the night. Ola got quite a bit done already with the taping. It's kind of hard because we're at limited space. We're trying to keep the equipment out of the snow. It leaves us a little bit tight for space. But she was able to get some of those harder spots. I've got everything hung in the main shop space except for one little strip down the side of the door up there. And that's not a big deal. I can get that on my own real easily. I needed to make sure I had help with the 12-foot sheets going up this back wall. The other day, Ola opened up the side door here by the kitchen to see the snow accumulation. And where it had kind of come in against the building, it was about 1.5 feet up the door. And then it immediately ramps up like that where the pile is. And the pile was like clear up to almost shoulder height. But now, if that adjusts, you can see where the pile is, which is above my head. The bottom of the window is just over 4 feet. You can see it's right up to the window on the wall. We opened the door a few minutes ago and you can see the doorknob impression in the snow and just how tall it is out here now. It's absolutely bonkers.